good. Go ahead. Do your thing. You signed in for all of us? Huh? You signed in for all of us? Woke. The Young Poets Justice.
Welcome, families, to the 7G Evens Fall Showcase. We are going to go ahead and get started with our evening because we have lots of poets to present to you. So I think we're going to start with getting our framing slide speakers lined up up front. You know who they are.
Welcome, families and friends, to the 7th grade community showcase. Thank you for taking the time to join us during our showcase. You will experience some of our learning from this semester and get to see the products of our hard work. After spending a couple weeks exploring, it was finally time for expedition launch.
For our expedition launch, we went to 2 different local museums, Planet Word and the National Museum of African American History and Culture. At Planet Word, we explored lots of cool interactive exhibits that pledged language and the importance of reading. At the African American History Museum, we visited the exhibit Reckoning, which looked at the different ways African Americans use visual art to protect, resist, and escape.
Our problem task was finally revealed. It is, historically, systemic racism has prevented enslaved and free Black people from having a voice and openly sharing their stories of resistance. This issue still plagues us today in that racism still exists and the voices of many remain silenced. How can I use my voice to serve my community, to share stories of the past and help others be heard and free today?
In social studies, we prepare for our final product. We spent time reading, watching, and listening to text to build our background knowledge. We read graphic novels, wake and read parts from Stamp, and this helped us understand Black people resisted in every way of enslavement and helped us understand through line between slavery and legislation of slavery.
In ELA, we began the year by learning about the civil rights giant, John Lewis. We discussed what we thought good trouble meant to John Lewis, how it showed up in the real world, and how it relates to activism. We participated in the gallery walk to learn about the life of John Lewis and the different protests he was a part of.
We were also fortunate to be joined by visiting guest poets from 826 DC who helped us craft our poem.
To prepare to write our own original poetry about the topics we studied in social studies, we examined elements of strong writing. We learned about different types of figurative language and analyzed the use of similes, metaphors, personification, allusion, and alliteration in mentor texts, such as the poetry in the book Punching the Air by Izzy Savoy and Yusuf Salam. We learned how writers use tools like repetition, rhyme, and figurative language to connect with their audience and convey a message. We viewed and discussed spoken word poetry and our visiting poets from 826 DC and analyzed poems written about different legacies of slavery.
To help answer this question, we created a poem addressing injustice and resistance and how both are impacting our communities today.
Family and friends listen carefully as these poets share what injustice they believe are disrupting our communities. Please snap after each poem to show your appreciation. This slave by Keisha. Once locked up, never free again, held against my will, never seen another good sun again. He's strained away from his freedom. The slave has fear in his eyes. To the time he wakes up, he's getting beat like a drum. Beat again and again to blood drops, broken into pieces, broken enough to take the pain, broken enough to cry, bruised everywhere when he can't walk. Trying to stay strong, but no one has. One more time and he's done, praying for someone to save him, but all hope is gone. All my life wasted, all my family gone, my whole life is lost. Replaying in my head, I will never be free again, the same thoughts going throughout my head, replaying over and over again, trying to figure out what happens to me. Dying inside, knowing I will never be free again, crying deep down, knowing my family will never be safe. Thank you.
My dream by Lucas Carvalho. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, I have a dream. I have a dream too. My dream is freedom, independence, and happiness for all people, no matter their race and no matter their gender, no matter anything at all. I want people to be free and full of independence. Instead, I see people who are trapped, who are being pulled down by society, who are being treated unfairly. It should look like a march for freedom, a march for joy, a march for the freedom.
This is my poem, Guns Have No Place, by Soren Parker. Guns have no place on our street. Their sound brings no peace or retreat. Rising violence, sorrow, and fear, a tragedy we must all steer clear. Colors of rage fill the sky. To fight this, we cannot be shy. Rebels we commission to bring solutions that violence can't sing. Crimson clouds encompass us all. Shouts of resistance, their siren call. We'll stand together in harmony, in a chorus of unity. An army of peaceful resistance, with minds that are full of persistence. Our actions will be strong, our voices will be loud and long. Peace over violence, our passionate plea. We won't give up, not even a plea. Fighting back with unity and strength, we always resist gun violence.
Resistance is not just a word, it's a meaning. Resistance has a name. His name is George Floyd, and on May 25th, 2020, he was killed by a white police officer named Derek Chauvin. Resistance has spot. His death was world news because he's a black man killed by a white police officer. He tried to resist so many times, but he didn't respond. He just laid his flag on George Floyd's neck. Resistance has voice. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. George Floyd lied there, using a pound from the ground. His flag on his neck fell like a brick on his neck. Resistance has a saying. He tried to resist once more, just when he get Derek Chauvin throwing the size leg off his neck. Resistance has feelings. He started to cry. I don't believe this man. Mom, love you. Love you. Tell my kids I love them. I'm dead. Resistance has a saying. We will miss them. You will miss that man. He had a place in people's hearts and just left a shock to the entire community. Just know that just because you're black, white, or mixed, you should not be accused just because of your skin color. Rest in peace, George Floyd, October 14th, 1973 to May 25th, 2020.
Racism is like a disease. It spreads through our veins, infecting every corner of the world with no escape. Racism is a plague. Resistance is like a vaccine. Resistance will intervene. Rebellion is Haiti, fighting for their freedom. Rebellion is America, 1775, a raging war. It's learning to read, and faking sick, and breaking tools, all just to escape these pointless rules. Voices silence, erasing the violence, textbooks woven into the beliefs of past generations. We want an explanation. Invisible, ultimately divisible, all these tears, all these years. We're like a building about to break, like the aftermath of an earthquake. Why shouldn't we make our own choices? Let's work together to raise our voices. Only once we've eliminated this disease can we rejoice. Protest, choose fight over flight. Everyone deserves equality, not just those who are white.
Sometimes the ass and candy. Sometimes. Sometimes my mom is hard on me and I feel like a car that has run out of gas and you're stuck in the middle of the night when I want to quit, but I resisted. Sometimes I say I can't participate because my hair is in locks, but I resisted. Sometimes I just need some space, sometimes I want to be alone, sometimes I just want to cry. Sometimes. Sometimes turns into all the time turns to a lifetime, but not in my lifetime. Sometimes I feel like I have a purpose in life, and I try to picture myself in that position as CEO of everybody's boss. Sometimes my mom and I have such a great time, I forget about how I just want to quit and just do it. I feel like a car that is full of gas, but I'm just full of life. Sometimes I feel like the sky's the limit and like I can do anything in the world. Sometimes my peers help me be myself. Sometimes I am who I am. Sometimes people are mean. Sometimes I'm so happy. Sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I will never reach a never-ending battle with myself. Sometimes life is so difficult that you never know if you're going to or want to see the sun of tomorrow or breathe the fresh air of tomorrow. Sometimes who I need is nowhere to be found. Sometimes I feel as though I'm not good enough. Sometimes it's always going to be sometimes, but most of the time will never be my sometimes.
Harriet told me about Greta's husband. Harriet told me a hero bold and true, a woman of great courage and strength she knew. Born into slavery and life filled with war, she dared to dream of something more and soon. She fled to freedom, traveling through the night, guided by the stars and guided by the light of the North Star, bright and shining in the sky, leading her to safety, or so did she try. But Harriet didn't stop there. She couldn't rest, knowing others were still trapped in slavery's grasp. She returned time and time again, a conductor of the underground, risking her own life to help others be found. Harriet Tubman, a woman of great worth, a beacon of hope on this earth. Her bravery and determination, a inspiration to us all. Harriet Tubman, a hero standing tall. She led dozens to freedom on the Underground Railroad, a network of safe houses through fields and over hills. Harriet Tubman's bravery, it did not fail as she helped hundreds escape from the plantations of the South. She became known as the Moses of the people, leading them out of slavery and into freedom's people. Harriet Tubman, a hero of her time, her legacy lives on in a verse of rhyme.
Innocent people die without a reason.
Police now.
A civil force of nation or local government responsible for the prevention of crime and the maintenance of public order. How much crime have the police started? How many police officers are involved in shootings every year? How many of those shot by police were minorities? Racism, now, the belief that different races possess distinct characteristics, abilities, or qualities, such as to distinguish them as inferior or superior to one another. Who can be a police officer? Who can hold a gun? Who gets to decide who's guilty or innocent? To some, police means safety. To other, police means fear. The sounds of gunshots, every boom like a warning echoing through your body. Some see guns as protection, others hear them as panic. The police are like fire traps, like to promise safety luring people in, but then snap, you're stuck, and all safety is lost. Innocent people can't walk down the street, like their house, with their own car. Is that your car? Are you going to pay for that? No matter what you answer, you will not be heard. Slow down. You don't need to get aggressive.
As innocent people can be seen as murderers or threats because innocent people are black. Innocent people are being killed. Deaths are overlooked, racism is overlooked, just in silence. Murderers get short jail time for big crimes, but they get to be racist because they're bad, as if their badge ties them to racism. People with power treat people without it like flies, buzzing around them, pesky and irritating, something to swat away and ignore. People with power treat people without it like money, something you can spend and steal, something you can take, and they have for centuries. Gun violence is a sickness, racism is a virus. Spreading and killing, hurting everyone in its path. You can, you care, resist today for a better tomorrow. Justice by Harriet Ocean. Resistance is an argument. Resistance is an action. Being racist is a choice. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. That's what George Floyd said when he was killed like an elephant stepped on by an elephant. Boom, boom. That's what Breonna Taylor heard when police officers broke into her own home. Say their names. Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Tamir Rice, David Felix, Rakia Boyle, Mike Brown, Terrence Crutcher, and the list never ends. Racism spreads just as fast as germs, with a single click of a post. Sure, all lives matter, but Black lives need more help. At the end of the day, we are still begging for justice. At the end of the day, we are still protesting. At the end of the day, if there is no justice, there is no peace. Justice is freedom. Justice is equity. And that is why we need more justice in this unfair world and system. Thank you.
Nat Turner by Jairus Turner. He resisted and fought for our freedom. He spoke for our lives. He led a rebellion against the slave masters. He died a great death. He's Nat Turner. He was as brave as the knight. He was the wolf in the fight, the alpha of the pack, the slave that took back the slave ship off its track. He had great education and knew his roots, and with that information he taught us the truth. He helped us attack with weapons that didn't miss. Even though we bled, we still had bliss. We went to battle against guns that go blam. We did it to be set free and see our fam, thanks to Nat Turner. For our freedom, he persevered and was slain. He sacrificed his life so we could gain. He led an army against slave masters. He'd rather die than be captured. He's Nat Turner.
By Serena Davidson. My past, my future, my present, my body, all filled with rage. We always hear about the bills and constitutions. The notebook was given and the rules were written, but each stroke of the quill decided a future. A future that affects humanity, a future that traps people differently. In the minds of them, the writers below them are field age. There was never a time without black and white. They evolved into red, white, and blue. We need to hear about all historical heroes, not just the white men or dictators. Try to talk about anyone else and they'll give you zero. When you're not as privileged, suddenly you don't have rights. I like to think of it as fight or flight. Either stay and fight against racism to see another day, or fly, fly, fly away. Don't just run away from your problems, stick with them. Think of the first ancestors who walked so others could run. They went slow like sloths so we could be cheetahs. They suffered so we could understand. The notebook was given and the rules were written, but each stroke of the quill kills a future, a hope, a dream. We're strong.
For them, by Cecilia Rittenbach. To be in harmony as one is to live in harmony, like the moon and the sun, or the sun is two notes from different instruments that work together to create something. But instead we separate. We separate ourselves not to protect, but to result and put down others, to raise ourselves at the expense of others that are different. Even though you are a fox and I am a rabbit, we persist. Even though you are a shark and I am a fish, we persist. Even though you are white and I am black, we persist. The white and black, we persist. The difference, we persist. Our words will fight. They'll fight for rights that should have been ours, but will be our children's and our grandchildren's, and theirs in the rest to come. We do it for our children and for our grandchildren, so they won't have to feel like we do, existing. Stand. So we persist. We will persist if it's working behind the curtain or out in the spotlight, by making ourselves seen and by giving eyes to those who can't see, because they can't see what I see. I see people clutching their filters because they don't know who like I do. So we persist. My handcuffs are hiding. They fade and turn invisible, but they stay the same. They'll continue to hold us back. They are changing, adapting. They are hiding from us in laws and sidewalks. They are hiding from us in roads and beaches. But they are there.
Bluetooth, parent.
Even though they are invisible and you can't see them. We reflect on events so nobody will have to reflect on our attacks. We look back to what Nat Turner went through so nobody will have to look at our lives like that. We admire every person before us because they went through hardship to make sure that we wouldn't have to. They created opportunities. They paved the way to teach us. They taught us the broad meaning of persistence and equity and justice. So we persist for them.
If that happens again with the mic, here, just so. It was not just oh, thank you. Yes.
I Resisted by Ada Mitchell. Fight. Bad. Forced to the ground. Beaten half to death. Must fight back. Must resist. These terrible laws. The people enforcing them, they must be stopped. I was minding my own business. Caught. Abuse. Beaten. Must resist. I was driving. Minding my own business. Caught. Sirens. Pulled over for no reason. Pulled out gun. Dragged me out of my own car. I must resist. I'm at home. Minding my business. I hear enough. I go to the door, and apparently I didn't come in time. Cops bust on my door that was there for protection, now lying broken on my floor. Swarming my house like locusts to crops, pinning me down. I struggle as I watch them tear up my house. They stop. They get off me. False alarm when it says they leave, leaving their mess. Leaving the busted door. Leaving me. Rage. Fuming with anger. Confusion. Must resist. I pick up my sign and march into the street. I march and many join. I shout and scream, and cops soon arrive at the scene. And with my sign, the one that says, "This must end, stop the loop," with swirls and stars and light hues of all sorts. I hold up that sign. I speak my mind, and others do the same. I've had enough of this needs to stop. We're people too. Little pieces of a bigger story, coming together like the last few pieces of a puzzle. I resisted. No, we resisted. Finally fulfilling the promise I made to myself, to resist.
Collision, Isaac Bloom. When you ask what I want, but you rarely even ask that, I would say to have freedom, liberty, independence. Sometimes it feels as if the world is a box television back in the day, color separated into black and white, like fountains, like restrooms, like seats, divided just as black and white, split in half. Moon and sun, they orbit around the earth, away from each other, distance, they keep to their side, they don't interfere until they do. Collide, confuse, conflict, boom. The world might as well explode from all the hate, anger, atrocity. The world might as well stop. But just maybe we might balance like two people on a seesaw.
Resistance by Elijah Red. Racism is like shame. Shame for being different. Racism is displeasure, displeased to be seen. I'm a victim. Resistance is war. Injustice is like evil, even as hot as the sun. I'm a victim. Resistance is war. Resistance is war. Oppose the soldiers. White people can be racist, even without a reason to be racist. They were lied to. Black people did not even do anything to deserve this. Treat people how you.
My world, my life. I help others in order to pick me up in life. For my mind, it felt like catching on fire. Sometimes it felt like I got bit by 1,000 scorpions, running away from others in the world who try to hurt me or make me mad. Finishing the work, but see what happens, but getting more work and harder and harder every time. If you try to help, you might get beat up. Other people who are from the dark world run and run until they get to a dead end and have nowhere to go and turn back. But when I think of rebellion, I think of Nat Turner, destroyed white Southern myth that slaves were actually happy with their lives, or docile to undertake. For years I lived the life that others chose for me, the captive I thought that are not my own. But I fought for the freedom on the road of self-discovery, and I fiercely guarded my liberated soul.
Remember when, by Amir. When you tell the story of the United States, make sure to remember the people who fought. Remember the people who resisted. Remember the people who pushed back against the racism in this world. The people who kept on going even when people said they couldn't. When people tried to oppress them, they stood still like a steel wall. They marched forward like an army, breaking through the barriers, hopping over the hurdles. So when you tell the story of the United States, make sure to remember the people who fought. Remember people who made change in this world, how they risked their lives, how they risked their freedom, all to help the people in the future not have to face the same injustices. So now we need to use our voices. We need to stand up to racism, to all the problems in the world, so the future generations don't have to go through what we had to. So when you tell the story of the United States, make sure to remember the people who fought. Like when Harriet Tubman freed slaves from the South, when Frederick Douglass got an education against all odds, and when John Brown led a raid on Harper's Ferry. Whiteout by Violet Kent. Nothing I can do is enough to erase what was done by those before me. How we act today cannot erase what was said to those before us, and yet they try. Textbooks are written with details missing, like someone painted whiteout over the important pages. The pages that take accountability for the years of enslavement and the years of discrimination after that. Discrimination that hasn't ended. For the lives that were lost and the lives that we lose still. For the kids who grow up with no role models that look like them. For the people who try to educate themselves, try to be better, but have no resources, because the ones who have power don't want others to know what really happened. Evidence burned, the way William Lloyd Garrison burned the Constitution on the 4th of July. But he did it to end slavery, not to conceal it. Maybe, instead of ignoring the past, we should embrace the future. Maybe, instead of using whiteout to revise the book of our history, we should learn from it and start a new chapter.
We Fight by Antoine Queen. Resistance, a thing that takes bravery and courage, the brains of a leader, the heart of a hero. Not everybody will let slavery stand, for it has ruined so many lives, taken so many children, and hurt so many loved ones. Resistance is like a book, start to finish, front to back. Sometimes it ends happily, sometimes horribly. We fight for our freedom, we fight for our rights, we fight for change, and we fight for justice. Those with privilege took that of what we love, took our family, and took our beliefs.
is Life by Sarah Edmonds. Why am I still here? Resistance is the most important thing if you want to make it in this world. Resistance is a requirement, more so like how a child needs a stuffed toy or how an infant needs a water to destroy its hunger. Using resistance doesn't make you a bad person. Perhaps it could make you a better one. Maybe resistance could save some lives. It depends on the person who actually knows how to use resistance. Though a child might not know that much about it if they didn't grow up around people or a household that use resistance. Kids are just reflections of their parents or what they grew up around. In my opinion, nobody is a bad person, just hurting. Kids and some adults need to learn resistance because with the way the world is, nobody deserves to be around someone they don't feel safe with. Everybody needs resistance because a lot of things can happen without it. Like I said, maybe if we had more resistance, it would be better for the world as a whole. This is life.
Justice, white versa. What's justice? Are we a colored race? What's up? Variants of brown shaded skin, overly concentrated in melanin, of African descent and other dark people. Those of you that are of a bad conscience, where's your justice? Hate the haters, white supremacy. We didn't have to say much. Father, where's your justice? Is it just not me? Open my eyes, my heart, so I can see. Am I just my race? Am I just qualified? Help me figure it out. No, I'm just me. Behavior and treatment, upholding myths and believing I'm being fair. In the treatment of my fellow melanin, what's justice? Just to shout out in fairness, integrity, honesty? I'm experiencing injustice, or is it just me? Thinking it's only me. I'm just saying it in my justice. My justice is integration. Your justice is rebellion. Our justice is peace. Or we're just us. That's what I thought in my justice.
Resistance by Travis Garrison. We fight for what's right, we choose we aren't doing. We are who we are, stop trying to make us who you want us to be. You make us do these things, tell us what to do, but that doesn't mean we serve you. We will fight back, we will stop this, and then we'll stop serving you. You put us in a cage like we are animals. You can't stop me from being me. I know who I am, I'm a living being. We are all humans, stop treating us like we are not. We are all the same, so there's no reason to call each other pain. When we see someone causing pain to someone, all we could do is put two middle fingers up to you. You think you own us like we are your toys. You put us away in the cabinet when you don't want to look at us. You leave us laying there on the floor like we don't matter, but we are not. You hit us, you take us away from our family, but that doesn't mean we'll lose hope. One day we will resist and fight back. If you put us back in our place, we'll break out every time. I want to be free from this prison. I want to have my own life. I just want to be free. Bend back from these metal bars and run home. It doesn't matter how many times you hit us, we will still believe we can get out here. We will resist and fight back. We will never stop, and then we will be free. We will resist, and then we will win and escape.
A Black Kid by Lauren Hubbard. The people I'm supposed to trust to keep us safe switch up on us and take advantage of us because of the color of our skin. Before I am viewed as human, I am viewed as black, hostile, dangerous. When walking down the street, I think of all the people who lost their life in the same way, because they were born black. Not because they were doing something wrong or bad, but because of the color of their skin, a color they did not get to choose. It's like they picked the wrong number in the lottery they never asked to be in. And because of this, day after day, we are oppressed and treated wrong. No matter how hard we try to resist and fight back, We always seem to just repeat history. Did Breonna Taylor's death make no change? Racism is the same story, different name over and over again. When will there be change? I realize I will never just be a kid who wants to be a kid, or a kid who just wants to ride their bike, or a kid who just wants to walk to the store, or a kid who just wants to live. But then again, I'm not just a kid, I'm a black kid.
Blow Off by Sean Barnes. We were crushed but grinded back up. The music and culture, we got it from our people. Life is like a roller coaster. The weather changes, our ancestors crying and weeping. As for sunny days, they had spirit. You can't have anything. Pulling up to places with weapons, shooting and killing someone's loved one, doing anything for clout. See them bright red and blue lights, everybody scattered. Let them to get shot over but being black. Accused of having a weapon, locked in a cell which seems like the rest of your life. Everybody getting murdered now and then. MLK and Malcolm X, Sailor Prey getting hunted by a lion. It gets real dangerous. The shooters, police killers, they all the villains. Don't know what to do, running hard as fast as lightning. Talking back now that's suicidal. Ancestors dead, called savages for looking different. Thought of as being dumb, being thrown off boats, bloodlines being crushed, trying to erase what they did to us. The presidents had slaves, and that's not even all that happened. Erasing the voices that were speaking the truth so that you could save your legacy. We had a dream.
The Way of Life by Tabitha Christopher. I'm trying to move on to a better life, but my past keeps coming up. I just want a better life, but I keep thinking about what these people did to me. I have been beat. I have been worked with no pay. I have been starved every other day. I want to leave this bad place. This is not the way I want to live. This is not where I want to be. Every time I think of who I used to be, I have a feeling this is just not for me. The people who have been through the life I have right now have lived, but I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Stuff gets so hard, I just can't fake it. Wondering what will happen if I escape. Will I be beat? Will I be killed? Is this the real life I want to live? Hurt so many times I can't feel anymore, but that's the way of life I have to live.
Found by Elliot Pelton. A spirit jumping from heart to heart, inspiring change in the darkest times. It is resilient, strong as a mountain, moving through the faults of the world, maybe slowing but never stopping. From big changes to small, bringing justice. But the fight is not over. There is still a place in everyone's head where the hate still hurts. The people with privilege in charge need to fall. The lines between us need to fall. Before you can walk, you have to crawl. But before you can fall, you have to stall. The history books that teach us history cover up the faults of the founding fathers. We should not be learning his story. They make people's stories a mystery, hiding people's lives so theirs can thrive. Finding stories hidden, finding lives buried, finding hope for the future, finding love unconditionally.
The Art and Resistance by Zoe Gaither. Resistance is not acceptance. Resistance is brutal. Resistance is cruel. Resistance flows with injustice. Resistance is an isolating cloud up in the patterned blue sky, wondering when it'll get its chance to gleam brightly just like the sun. Resistance is a rainbow in the sea of people being pushed and pushed and pushed until finally they break free. Snap like the branch off a tree. Resistance is a beautiful concept. When I close my eyes, I see Van Gogh's bright blue irises basking in the breeze. Resistance is opposition. Resistance is oppression. Resistance is free. Resistance is me.
Resistance by James Walko. When you tell us our resistance, make sure to talk about Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman helped people escape from slavery. She was brave at Taco. She never got caught. When you tell the story of resistance, make sure to talk about Frederick Douglass. He escaped from slavery. He gave a speech fight and to end slavery. He was a jaguar, never gave up. When you tell the story of resistance, make sure to talk about Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. When you tell the story of resistance, make sure to talk about John Brown. He tried to steal guns to enslaved people to fight for freedom. When he was caught and executed, his plan failed. When you tell the story of resistance, make sure to talk about Nat Turner. He killed over 50 white field slaves. Ben! But he was caught and executed, and his plan also failed.
Resistance Against Racism by Merrick Waits. What seems like a million years ago, there was a time where people were treated differently, where people were and still are trapped behind iron bars, where people were killed brutally just because of the color of their skin. They were forced to work like robots under the blazing sun or in the frigid cold, with no payment at all. Brought on slave ships, being trapped under their deck, being forced to stay in a lying position, being infected by diseases and dying daily, with their hands cuffed together with shackles of injustice, with the constant as they walk. Hundreds of people dying every day. It has changed from then, but it still exists, because Black people are still treated differently in our schools, in our work, in our life. Because some humans treat Black people as if they're less than white people. This needs to stop. We need to resist.
Untitled by Joy. To look at yourself in the mirror wanting to die is the feeling that cannot be described to those who've never felt such darkness. Resistance means not giving up, to be there for the ones you love, the ones you never want to see leave. Is it selfish? I want to leave those people. But the problem is with you and I, there's no you and I, there's you and me, sitting there trying not to kill each other, resisting not to fall on the floor and act a fool to get away from you, to never see you again. How long do I have to scream for someone to finally hear my story? I begged and plead not to wake up and prayed to God to let me slip away in my sleep so I won't feel this feeling anymore, so I won't feel the feeling of a needle poking at my heart, so I can swing like a palm tree in Mexico, finally feeling the happiness I deserve. But yet I died 1,000 times for people who won't do the same for me. They always say suicide is not the answer, but they never tell you what the answer is. Am I supposed to live in this darkness for 60 years? I refuse to live in such darkness for years and years, day and day, trying not to slip away. Living in darkness, I cannot escape, holding on to a rope that's breaking day, 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 as I go, trying not to fall.
Resistance Throughout the World by Robert Schaefer. Resistance is an ethereal being that surrounds us. It is in the air, in our minds, and in our bodies too. It is one of the things that inaugurated this world we live in today. It is something that the enslaved people showed almost every day of their life. It is something that we still show today in our protests and even in the wars we have and will participate in. It is the thing that binds us together in the curved balls of life. We should immerse ourselves in its supernal arms, and even in the darkest times, it will help us see the light. Even when we are cast out the door, it will show us the light. Just like Harriet Tubman did when she came back after escaping slavery for the 13th time and rescued over 70 enslaved men and women alike. There are many battlefields, and not the ones that you're thinking of, not the ones with the big bangs, but the subtler ones that don't involve your fists or swords or guns, but rather shouting and raising your voice along with others to stand up for what you believe in. One of the biggest is the Black Lives Matter protest to get equal rights for all. which is a follow-up from the fights that were fought by the enslaved people back in the day. But those fights are a lot different from the BLM protests that we have today. Instead of marching and shouting, there was more fist swinging and running for their lives. They always woke up fighting, went to sleep fighting, but they never stopped until they got what they deserved. Their freedom. Resistance should be the thing that binds us together. Instead, it can be used the wrong way. But if you are using resistance the right way, at the right time and place, then it will be something precious forevermore. But heed my warning about the way to wrongly use resistance. From the people of Black Lives Matter, the George Floyd protests, the Stono Rebellion, etc. They will come for you, because you did something bad with resistance, and resistance was not happy with your actions. And that is all I wanted to tell you, that resistance is a thing we all fear and love, and is as real as Lady Luck. And I am a simple messenger of the higher beings to pass on this poem as a message from resistance itself.
George Floyd was more venerable. A tragedy that didn't need to happen. He didn't need to be killed for using a fake dollar, even though it was wrong, even though he served 8 jail terms before. What if his bill was real and the other was fake? They should have confronted him or asked questions. They should have at least let him go to court and talk about it. The people resisted like running from a predator. They resisted. He deserved to breathe. He deserved to breathe the same as everyone else. They resisted because the officer's knee was on his neck like a stress ball getting squeezed.
No Reason by Theodore Ritzky. There's no reason that someone should be unsafe in their own neighborhood from the people that should be protecting them. No reason that someone should have to be treated like they're some sort of other life form by the people that protect and serve. The fact that people have died just walking in their neighborhood just because of the color of their skin is enough of a motive to bring justice to this unfair system. There's no reason that the history of neighborhoods, of towns, of cities needs to be taken over, wiped away like a spill. We like to say that things are getting better, that things are getting more diverse. We like to dream of a future where everyone can be who they are, but we are far from that. People protest police brutality, which causes more brutality, which causes protests. We are stuck in a time loop, doing the same thing again and again and again and again. We have to keep going. We have to keep protesting. We need to keep fighting back. We need to all come together. We need to show them who we all are.
Jungle by Imam Bowie. Just because I'm black doesn't mean I deserve to be your slave. Just because I'm your slave doesn't mean I deserve to be raped. Just because I give rape doesn't mean I should be forced to give birth. Interesting. It's crazy how whenever the story of a black woman is told, we seem to leave out all the facts. Like a book left on the shelf, unread, story untold. Apologizing for existing, saying sorry for the people who don't have an idea. Why? Why is to be black an apology? Why am I apologizing? I'm just a color, a human in this big, big world. What a world. This world is a jungle full of lions ready to pounce on their prey. Am I that prey? In this world, you're either the hunter or the hunted. What a messed up way to look at the world. Or is it? All I know is that the right way to look at the world is how to look at it how it is. But the world should be peaceful, equal, comforting like a warm blanket, gracious, compassionate, safe like a cub protected by its mother, clean, inclusive. That's what we want, that's what we need, but the world's a jungle, and a jungle it shall be.
Can we give our 7th graders just a big round of applause? They have worked very hard not just to write poems, but to prepare themselves to share their poems in front of an audience, which is a challenging task for any person at any age. So you can rest easy and be proud of yourselves. Give yourself a pat on the back. And I told them there was one little extra surprise that I was going to share at the end. So because of our partnership with 8260C, all of their poems will be published, and they will all get a copy of their poetry. So I would just like to, again, thank all of our students for their hard work, all of our families and guests in attendance that were, I'm sure, helping them recite their poems at home and get us ready for our night tonight. And just another big congratulations to all of our 7th graders. What a great evening. Thank you. And with that said, we are all dismissed.